Breaking news. In Newport News, Virginia, a first grade student shot and critically wounded a teacher during an altercation inside Rich Neck Elementary School on this Friday afternoon, according to police and school officials. Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew said a 6-year-old boy was involved in an altercation with his teacher before he shot her with a handgun. The boy was taken into custody. No students were injured. The teacher is a woman in her 30s and has life-threatening injuries. A 6-year-old student whose mother didn't want her daughter's name used said she witnessed the shooting. The girl told Daily Press reporter that one of her first grade teammates shot their teacher on purpose. Now let's take a look at the news conference that was held at Rich Neck Elementary.
Gunshot wound. She is a teacher here at the school. She was transported to a local hospital where I can tell you that is where our thoughts and prayers are at right now, that she is still considered, her injuries are still considered life-threatening, but there was some improvement the last update that we got. The individual is a 6-year-old student. He is right now in police custody as we're working at the best way to our partners and different resources to address that situation. We have been in contact with our Commonwealth attorney and some other entities to help us best get services to this young man. The forensics has already been inside. We processed. This occurred in a classroom. It was isolated. This was not a situation where we had a student going up or any other individuals going up and down the halls with actively firing in a long shooting incident. It was in a classroom, an altercation that took place there. That class has been processed. When we responded here, as we brought in, we tried to coordinate a police line for parents to gather. We had great resources, our partners, school board members, of course, Dr. Parker. We have a great working relationship. The mayor, the school staff here. What the officers did when they got here is they coordinated to move all the students and the faculty to the gymnasium, to bring everyone together and to keep the kids interacting. You can imagine some of the fears and concern that they have as they're moving through the hallway. We did that systematically, but still in a safe and tactical situation to make sure we didn't have anything else. As they arrived, we did hallway by hallway, and I cannot tell you, I have to say, I cannot be more impressed with the faculty at this school. And I'm not just talking about teachers. I'm talking about every adult here played a role in helping us facilitate that movement. And it worked very, very well. I understand there was some frustration as we wanted to make sure we worked with our school system to make sure we got parents and students back together. And Dr. Parker may talk more about that, but you can understand the frustration of just wanting to make sure, put their arms around their young one, and I can understand that. So I want to thank the citizens of this city that picked up their children today and how well they worked with us. The sheriff's department did an amazing job. The faculty and staff here, I just can't talk more about the work that they did. As you can imagine, this is a hard situation. It's a hard situation for families. It's a hard situation for our most valuable residents here, as our young people, right? That's our future. We got to shake hands and give some high fives, but I saw a lot of tears today. And I'm not just talking about in students' eyes, right? I could not be more happy how the officers cleared this facility, walked and interacted with students. The faculty, again, I just could not be more appreciative. I want to thank the mayor. He came in with us. He went out and walked the crowd and explained to citizens what we were doing in our process. And Mr. Mayor, I just want to tell you thank you for that. I appreciate that. And Dr. Parker that was with us, you see behind me, members of the school board, they were here inside making sure the kids were okay. How can we help? And it wasn't standing around. I mean, school board members were walking kids to their parents to make sure they were okay. So I'll take a few questions, but then I want to make sure to step aside for the mayor and Dr. Parker if you have any questions for them.
Is it true that some of your second grade classrooms do not have doors to them?
Well, so I'm going to take any questions I can about what I've talked about, and then I'm going to step aside.
You mentioned there was an altercation involving a 6-year-old. Can you expand on that?
The only thing I can tell you is that the altercation was between a 6-year-old, the student who did have the firearm, and the teacher, and then a round was fired. Like I said, she suffered a gunshot wound and has been transported to the hospital. That's where my thoughts and prayers are at right now. When I leave here, I'm going to get another update, but Chief Grinstead has been keeping us informed about how she's doing at the hospital.
And Chief, are this shooting intentional or accidental?
This was not an accidental shooting.
And Chief, are you in touch with the child's parents right now? What are they saying at this time?
So right now, Chief Creswell and his staff, Captain Petrosky, Lieutenant Fish, are handling that investigation. I'll get a brief from that when I leave here. As we talked a little bit earlier, the number one priority for me was to get those students back with their families. We'll get the investigation done, and there's some questions we'll want to ask and find out about. I want to know where that firearm came from. What was the situation? But right now, what I've shared with you is kind of where we're at in the investigation.
Can you talk about the gun a little bit? What kind of a gun?
No, I don't want to get into that until I've allowed the detectives to do their. I can tell you it was a handgun. It was a firearm. I can tell you that.
Was there anybody else involved other than that single student?
No, it was one student and the teacher in the classroom.
Is it classroom doors or all classrooms?
So I'm going to let the school members talk about that. I'm going to step aside for the mayor and then Dr. Parker. What I can tell you is that when those officers went through and cleared those rooms, you can imagine we're dealing with elementary kids, and those kids did an amazing job today. They did an amazing job, and I cannot be more proud of them. I'm going to step aside.
How old is the teacher? And how many years
I can tell you she's an adult female, and she's in her 30s. I don't know a time frame that she's been here yet.
Chief, last question. Did the shooter and the teacher know each other? Were they relatives of any kind?
I don't believe they were relatives, but they knew each other, classroom and teacher type structure. Okay? All right.
I'll sort of keep my comments brief. Newport News is it's a community. We are going to succeed or we're going to fail together. Today, I could not be prouder of our public servants who were here very, very quickly. The outer cordon, inner cordon were established. Can I be more proud of the police force, the sheriff, the entire fire department, my colleagues that stand behind us, the superintendent, the school board, Lisa, our delegates that are here. Newport News is a strong community, and we are always going to be together. It hurts my heart. After this, I'm going to go to the hospital and talk to the family and spend the night there. But it's a dark day for Newport News. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to come back stronger. So I'll take some questions at this time, very briefly, and then I'll get over to the school board.
Mayor, you've been in office just a week or so. What's it like to have this so quickly in your administration?
Yep. So legally since January 1st, we take office January 10th. So this is a team effort. It's not just the mayor; it's the city council, it's school board. This is a surreal experience, but I was so proud to see how our officers handled it, how everyone was calm, was peaceful. They were able to get the children, account for them. I'm very proud of that.
And how are you going to take this? I know it's fresh. How are you going to take tonight and move forward in your term when it comes to addressing gun violence among such young children? This is the youngest we've seen in a very long time.
It has. So right now it's still raw right now, but I will tell you is there's going to be a full after action, not only from internally of the city council, but school board and others, but we are going to ensure that we have the right steps and policies so this doesn't happen again.
Mayor, do you believe in metal detectors in school? Do you believe in it?
Yeah, I'm going to let the school board and superintendent talk about that. Yeah. Anything else? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm George Parker, the superintendent of Newport News Public Schools.
Is that Dr. George Parker, by the way?
Dr. George Parker.
Okay, thank you.
And what I really say is today our students got a lesson in gun violence and what guns can do to disrupt not only an educational environment, but also a family, a community. And I reiterate what the mayor said, that Newport News is a very proud community. We pride ourselves in working diligently to provide a safe learning environment for all students. The efforts we saw today by our faculty were admirable. And the response that it took to get our kids, make sure our kids were safe, make sure our parents were reunified with the students as timely as we could make it. We don't plan for these incidents, but we do plan to have plans to make sure our schools are safe. We need the community support, continued support, to make sure that guns are not available to youth. And I'm sounding like a broken record today because I continue to reiterate that we need to keep the guns out of the hands of our young people. This is evidence today that these are the things that happen when we have access to weapons. I really feel for this community, the Rich Neck community at this time. I saw the fear on some of our parents' faces. I saw the fear on our students' faces. We will not be in school on Monday as we work on the mental health of our staff and our students. We'll continue to work on that, and we'll be putting more information out to parents in the days to come as far as how we will move forward as a school and as a community.
Is this going to ramp up your the usage of metal detectors in schools?
We have already moved forward in many ways with random metal detection and standard metal detection in many of our schools. Whenever there's a threat, we have threat procedures in place.
Do you have a metal detector here at the school?
We do have metal detection capability in all of our schools. The kids walk through a metal detection every day. We do not do that. We use random metal detection, and we usually do that. Well, we don't let folks know when we're going to do it. But if we have a perceived threat or an issue, we administer random metal detection on those days. We can check individual classrooms, individual students, and students as they come off the bus.
But
so we have procedures in place.
Cause you to ramp it up to do it more often?
Those are things we'll have to consider moving forward. Again, I cannot control access to weapons. My teachers cannot control access to weapons. What we have to do is we have to make sure that is also a clear message that comes out of a situation of this nature. We do respond to whatever we have come on campus, but again, it comes on campus because of access in the community, and this is not a Newport News problem. It's a bigger and broader problem than what we're seeing today.
Superintendent, just your reaction to a 6-year-old pulling a trigger in one of your classrooms.
I'm in awe, and I'm in shock, and I'm disheartened, and I really feel that we need to educate our children, and we need to keep them safe, and that's what our school division is about, and that's the whole mission of our school division. So today was really a breakdown in what our values are as a community, what our values are as a city, and what our values are as a school division, and we need to make sure that we never see incidents like this happen again.
Sir, what do you say to the other teachers who, may see this happen from a student hitting another teacher and maybe in fear now that another student might do the same to them?
To our teachers and I can only speak to my staff. We know that we do everything possible to keep our schools safe, and we'll continue to do that. And part of that is listening to our teachers and making sure, and also communicating effectively with our parents to ensure that we can maintain safety. It takes more than just a school division and a police force to keep our kids and our community safe. It takes parents, it takes the community to work with us to do that. But to our teachers, I would say that we'll put every procedure that we can muster in place to make sure that we can, one, manage a quality instructional day, as well as ensure that safety on our campuses.
Did you know the student personally? Did you know him personally?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, no school on Monday for just this school or district-wide?
Just the school.
I'm sorry,
in the short term,
about
what sort of
second grade
support?
classes not having doors. Would y'all be considering putting doors on all classrooms in this building?
Part of our security measures are to make sure that we can have a reasonable lockdown of our campus. And today was a good example that when we had a threat, the entire school went to lockdown, and that includes making sure our students are in a safe place while there is a legitimate threat. So all of our schools work on procedures. Every campus is different. And you'll have to work out the safety procedures and measures on every campus. So we'll go back, and we work very well with Chief Drew and our police officers. When instances occur, we go back and review our safety measures to make sure to see what worked well, what did not work well, and we make the necessary adjustments. Going back to this gentleman's question about any type of metal detection or other procedures that might take place. That's part of the recap that we do with our police staff, and they work very well with us to review instances that occur on our campuses to make sure that we're preventive moving forward, and we learn from situations that occur such as this.
Short term, what sort of counseling and support will you offer to students and staff come next week?
We have a crisis response team. Newport News has invested in clinically licensed social workers, psychologists, who not only meet with staff, but they also meet with students and parents if they need mental health assistance. We will be meeting with them throughout on an as-need basis over the weekend, following up in next week. And whenever we return to classes, they will be on site to assist any students. We saw traumatized students, not just from the classroom today that this incident occurred, but also from all over our building. We saw students coming out who really understand what took place today, and they'll need that mental health support. And one thing we pride ourselves is being able to provide that as a school division when instances like this occur.
Was there any significant disciplinary action that happened in that classroom in general prior to this
I'm sorry,
incident?
could you repeat that?
Was there any significant disciplinary action that had happened in that classroom, speaking generally, prior to this incident this year?
We are looking at any instances that may have occurred that may have caused this incident. We'll be investigating, completing our investigation as we move into next week. What transpired, what occurred. Right now, it's a police investigation, so I can't speak to anything leading up to it, the incident, or what occurred at this particular point. But that is part of our procedures, is to investigate from our standpoint, because we want to make sure nothing like this happens again. So if there's something we can do, we have to learn from it, and that will be part of our investigation.
How can we prepare for, like, kindergartners and first graders shooting at? How do we prepare ourselves for these type of actions?
I hope we look at our safety measures and don't prepare for first graders and kindergartners shooting each other. This is terrible. This is something that should never occur. And I think we're all in shock, and we all understand that we have a lot of work to do as a community to make sure things like this don't occur.
Do you know if the student involved was a boy or a girl, and what grade level was this classroom that this shooting happened?
It's a first grade classroom, and I don't want to speak to the student at this particular time because I want the police to be able to conduct their investigation and be able to put that any information out through their office. But unfortunately, it was a first grade classroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.